Welcome to a game of Grit. I am on the right side and my partner is on the left side. I will be playing Rush, Melody, and Vincent. This is kind of like the good guys team. And my partner will be playing Felicity, Nishay, and Lee. This is part of the guild team, the guild archetype. She will be trying to utilize the bottom of her deck by placing cards on the bottom of it and then drawing, discarding, revealing, doing all sorts of things with that. Because the guild is kind of an underground organization where they're always hiding things to be used or against someone or for themselves later, like stashing, ammo or something. I don't know. And then I will be playing the good guys. The good guys are pretty straightforward. They're very powerful, and they really deal with the tenacity mechanic, like the whole tenacity line, as it's called sometimes. So it's really, really good for introductory teams. So I'm going to start by consuming one card to play an Armory card. So I'm going to be playing Rush's Warhammer. And then I'm going to make a basic attack. And on basic, Rush has two forced triggers. One on his hero card and one on the Warhammer. Both of them say roughly the same thing, which is place the top card of your deck into your Tenacity face down and gain some attack. So I'm swinging for about 5 here, and my partner, Erin, will just parry from the cards in her Tenacity. Then I'm going to play a Song of Iron, which increases my armor value for all of my party members by 1. But at the end of the turn, when I rest, or when I take the rest action, I have to discard a card from my Tenacity, or discard the Song of Iron. It's a song, so it's got to be maintained. Then I'm going to switch out. I'm going to rest into Melody, draw a hand of 7, and get ready for Erin's turn. She's going to start by playing a Strength Potion. This is an enhancement that will discard the bottom of her deck when she uses it as an action. And then the potion will be consumed, which is removed from the game. She's going to hide 1 card. And then she's going to activate Felicity's hero effect, which is that she gets to hide 2 cards from her hand onto the bottom of her deck, then reveal the top 4 cards of her deck, and play any potions for free that are revealed this way. And we made a little bit of a goof here. Rain of Potions, which is the 2-cost potion she just put out, actually is not a potion, but we completely missed it while we were playing. And that just means that I have to, we really have to update the templates for these, because telling the difference between an enhancement and a skill and whatever else, they all have the same template, but I'd like to vary those up a little bit. In addition, she also gets a Potion of Luck, and that Potion of Luck is going to do a lot of work for sure. Potion of Luck, which she'll use right now, says that she needs to exhaust it as an action, and then she gets to place the bottom 2 cards of her deck into her Tenacity face up, and then that potion is consumed. And she hid the cards here through Felicity's effect, so she knew what these were already. Yeah, we'll keep the consumed cards in the middle of the table for both of us to see, because consumed, remember, is removed from the game, so they kind of need to be available to both of us, because the removed from game area is kind of like a shared, kind of like off to the side area. Then the next thing she will do is she's going to, I think, consume a card to play her Brewer's Kit. Yeah, she's going to consume a card from her hand to play her weapon from her Armory and equip it to Felicity. And the Brewer's Kit is pretty cool. It gives Felicity additional basic, like an additional basic attack value for each consumed enhancement. And so because potions are enhancements, she can now attack for, I believe, 2. She's going to swing at my Song of Iron, trying to remove that extra armor value I have. But then I will play a Momentum, which will allow me to prevent 2 damage of that. So I'll be able to prevent that, and then I'll place that into my Tenacity for some extra either firepower or blocking power. I really want to protect this Song of Iron right now, for the most part. Okay, so Erin's going to rest Felicity. She's going to put in Lee, readjust her Tenacity a little bit, and then she's going to draw up to 4, because that's the hand size for angry characters. Okay, it'll go to my turn, and on my turn, I'm going to just consume a card from my hand to be able to play Melody's Tambourine. And this Tambourine is really good, along with Melody, because it can exhaust, like I'll do now. I'm going to activate its ability, which allows me to exhaust a song I control, and to flip a card in my Tenacity face up. So songs, like we saw in my first turn, when you rest a hero, they automatically will attempt to exhaust and then perform their discard effect, but because it's already exhausted, I can ignore that at the end of the turn. So that's why Melody is really good at these song cards, because she can basically keep them out for her turn for free. I'm going to play Crush, which is a big 7 damage attack that makes me put an extra card into my Tenacity face down. This is going to hit, and when it hits, Erin reveals a neutral card from her stamina, and neutral cards kind of trigger effect when they're revealed from stamina, puts it in her hand. So there are going to be some rules here that I think I didn't go over in the rules video because they're playtesting rules. So we might see a few different things that weren't in any of the rule sets yet, but are being playtested. I switch into Vincent, I drop to my hand size, and then it goes over to Erin's turn. She's going to start by consuming a card to play Lee's Feather Knives from her Armory, and she's going to use its effect, which is, as an action, she can deal 1 damage to anything, and that attack will fail. But every time you make an attack, the Feather Knives deal 1 additional damage. So the idea here is she made an attack first to kind of start the attacks off. Then she used Lee's ability, which allows her to hide 2 cards from her hand, and to set a weapon as active. So she set the Feather Knives as active again. So now, since there was 1 attack before that, the Feather Knives will deal 1 additional damage, so that'll be 2 damage. So the more attacks that happen, the better the Feather Knives get. Then she activates the Strength Potion to discard the bottom card of her deck and give Lee +2 attack value this turn. She swings at me, and I decide to take it. I want to build up this Tenacity and use it for a few other things. And I believe it was a neutral card, so I put that into my hand. And now the Feather Knives have seen 2 other attacks happen, which means this is going to hit for 1 + 2, so this is a 3 damage attack. And we just clean up the potion that was supposed to get consumed there. She swings at my Song of Iron, and I decide, it's fine, I don't really need it anymore, I don't really want to protect it, because I'm going to have to discard a card from my Tenacity anyway next turn, and I don't really want to do that. And then she plays, I think it's called From Up High, and this card usually costs 3, but because she hid 2 cards from her hand this turn, it becomes a 0 cost. So she hits for 4, and I decide to parry that one. She puts it into her Tenacity, which is getting pretty thick at this point, and then she chooses to rest, I think with 1 card left in her hand that I think she's going to keep for Nishay. She puts Nishay in, and she draws up to 3. And Nishay has an on-enter ability, which means when she's put into play or put into active, she reveals the bottom card of your deck, and then she gets to consume 1 card from your Tenacity that has a cost equal to or lower than that. So I think she reveals a 1 cost, and so she can consume one of my 1 cost or less cards in my Tenacity. Goes to my turn. I start pretty quick by consuming a card to play Vincent's Paw Wraps, which allow me to control my face up and face down cards in my Tenacity. Then I play, I believe that's called Debris, which says discard a card from my Tenacity to deal damage equal to the top card of my discard pile. So I discard a card and I deal damage equal to its cost, basically. So this is going to be a 3 damage attack. And she chooses to parry. I put it into my Tenacity. And then Vincent experience heroes are pretty versatile. Vincent says, while I have more face up than face down cards, in my Tenacity, he gets +1 attack. And then if I have more face down cards than face up cards, I get to choose effects on cards, which will come up later. But right now, he is offensive. He's essentially in offense mode. And plus his Paw Wraps, which give him 1 additional damage. He's attacking for 4 right now. Erin plays, I believe it's called Into the Shadows. I can't see it from my recording right now, but this is a card that normally costs 2, but if you play it while you have a tricky hero as your active, it costs 0. And it says prevent 4 damage and draw the bottom card of your deck. So really, really good for Nishay and tricky heroes because it essentially cycles itself for a free block, but tricky heroes really need it. Hard to play for others, but it's still possible. Really good block card. I switch then to, I rest my hero, and because all my heroes are exhausted, I get to ready all of them, and I choose to put out Rush, because I'm going to probably ultimate next turn, which will get rid of my entire Tenacity, and then I'll need to kind of refill in some way. She starts by consuming a card from her hand and playing the, I think it's Beguiling Robe for Nishay. And this says, as an action, you can exhaust it to hide a card from your Tenacity, and then the opponent has to do the same thing. So we hit a card from our Tenacity, and she's setting something up, I'm sure. Aaron then plays Soul Drain, and Soul Drain says I get to choose one. I choose either to consume one card from my hand or reveal a stamina card as if I got hit, and then take that. So it's a free hit, or I have to remove a card from my hand from the game. And I'm thinking right now I want to remove some of the cards I have, but I don't want to remove enhancements because that'll fuel Felicity's Brewer kit for later. So I decide to consume one of my kind of big attack cards, but I think I have enough for it to be okay. She then makes a basic attack with Nishay for 4, and I decide I think I want to parry this or take this. I can parry it because I have a lot of block power, but I think I'm in a pretty good spot. So I reveal an angry card from the top, and the current playtesting rules we're seeing is angry cards have a trigger effect where they're put into your Tenacity face up. So I get a little bit of extra power here, and I believe I was planning to pop my ultimate and on my next turn, so I was really wanted to take it. But she does the same thing here and kind of beats me to it, and she pops her ultimate for, I think it was about 5 or 6 damage, and I decided to take that as well. In hindsight, I definitely should have blocked this, but experience cards, orange cards on trigger say I can exhaust an enemy card, but there's nothing to exhaust, so we were talking about how she inadvertently played around that because we had forgotten that you can play around these pretty well, so that was good for her. Unlucky for me. She then rests Nishay, re-readies all of her inactive heroes, and then puts out Felicity. I start by making a basic attack, and on my basic, I put 2 cards into my Tenacity face down because of Rush's ability and his Warhammer. And I think I say I'm swinging for 5 here, but it's actually 6. Because the Warhammer, I think I changed it somewhere else, but on the card it says +2 damage, but I think it really should be +1. There were a few things that needed to change, but that's okay. She then decides to play a Deflect, which allows her to block 1 point of damage for each weapon she has in play. And then she may exhaust her active hero's equipped weapon to draw a card. So it kind of makes it free. In a sense, makes it free. She kind of like cycling the card in her hand. And so she decides to do that, and she will draw a card. And she prevents the 3, which in reality shouldn't have worked, but that's okay. Then I'm going to ultimate for a lot. I think it was like 8 or 9 or something. She decides to take that right off the bat. It is a Calm card, and the trigger for Calm cards is to just draw a card. If these trigger rules are pretty similar to Union Arena, if you've played that, I really like that game as well, and One Piece, but more importantly, probably closer to Union Arena. Then I play Combination, and this is a tricky card that says your opponent chooses to either that you get to deal 6 damage, or you deal 3 damage and then deal 3 damage again. So you get either 2 small attacks or 1 big attack. And she decides to take 1 big attack because she wasn't planning to block it. She reveals a tricky card, and the tricky card says that you can defeat any 1 cost or less card in play that's not a weapon. So I also kind of dodged a bullet there. I then rest Rush, and I decide to put out Vincent, because I'm right now I can put some cards in my Tenacity to go into either defensive or offensive stance with him for his abilities. But I have to reset my deck, so I have to recycle my deck, which means I have to, I draw 2 cards, I still need to draw 2 more to draw up to Vincent's hand size. So I do a quick shuffle of shuffling my discard pile into my deck, there we go. Draw up to my hand size to finish the action, and then I'm going to take a stamina card, which is very lucky for me, an experience card, which allows me to exhaust Felicity, who was going to hit for a ton of damage because there are a lot of enhancements within the consumed area, like the removed from game area for her brewer's kit. We skipped past it a little bit, but she played a Hexblood. This is an enhancement that says when she consumes it, when a card is consumed, she draws a card. But then she plays I think it's a Rain of Potion, which allows her to hide all of the consumed enhancements she owns. So I think that's like 4 different enhancements that are from the removed area that she's putting back under her deck in any order she wants to, which makes her weaker as far as her basic attack, but allows her to set up for a much bigger turn. And Rain of Potions is an attack that normally deals 4 damage, but if you hid 2 or more enhancements or potions while playing it, it actually deals 6 damage. So this is a 6 damage attack coming at me. So a lot of words to say that she got her potions back and is dealing 6 damage. And so I decide to parry for 2, and then I play a defensive card, Momentum, which allows me to prevent 2 damage or prevent 3 damage if I have more face down than face up cards. And because I parried first, I was able to set that up. Erin then is deciding where she wants to go to next because she is pretty much done with her turn with Felicity. So she rests Felicity and then she puts out Lee. Lee's a really good, really good here because he can put on a lot of small attacks, which really pressure a lot of the cards in your hand. So she draws up to her hand size and it goes to my turn. So Vincent right now is in a defensive stance, so he gets his special ability is that while you have more face down than face up cards, any cards that say choose on your cards, that say an opponent choose an effect, I get to choose that effect instead. So I play Wolfish Charm, which allows me to draw 3 cards, give my next attack plus 3 damage, or flip 2 cards in my Tenacity, which is very, very versatile, but normally your opponent gets to choose it, and I choose to draw 3 to reload. I then attack with Vincent, and I activate his Paw Wraps, which allow me to place 1 card from my Tenacity face down, and then turn another one face up, so I'm basically trading the face up cards. And I swing for, I believe, 3 here, and she parries that no problem. Then, because of my draw, I actually got another Song of Iron, which allows me to get +1 armor for my entire party. And at the end, when I rest Vincent, I have to activate the Song of Iron's forced ability, which forces me to discard a card from my Tenacity. And then I put out Melody. I draw a full hand of 7 again. Erin's going to start with a basic attack. So this will be 3 damage, and I choose to parry that because remember, I have the Song of Iron. I believe she swings the Song of Iron, and I parry for 2. So that was a really good setup from the Paw Wraps last turn, where I got to flip that one face up. Rather than the Wolfish Charm that I put in there. She then makes an attack for 2 with the Feather Knives, and she swings at my Song of Iron. And in my hand right now, I have 7 cards, but none of them are defense. So had she gone for me at any point in this would have been really, really bad. She then plays Ammo Up, and Ammo Up says that I have to choose if she gets to ready her hero or her weapon. And so I was like, oh, that's fine, just ready your hero. I don't want to deal with, Feather Knives. But it turns out she didn't use Lee's ability yet, which I totally forgot about, or forgot she could even have the cards to do, which allows her to hide 2 cards from her hand, which she does right now, to ready her weapon. So I was kind of screwed no matter what. That was a pretty rough Ammo Up card that she played, which basically allowed her to ready Lee and ready her weapon. So I was in for a world of hurt the second I passed the turn over to her. So that was pretty crazy. And here we're just talking about how cool it was and how everything worked out, and she was really excited, and yeah, it was pretty sick. It was definitely rough on my end, but it was pretty sick overall. So she makes another basic for me for 3 damage from Lee's basic attack. I have to take this because once again I have no defense in hand. And then when I needed here an experience card to try not to take a lot of damage, but I did not get it. I got a friendly card, which allows me to place the top card of my deck into my Tenacity as its trigger from my stamina. And then now we're just trying to figure out exactly how much damage the Feather Knives is. I wish there was a better way to keep account of that over the turn. Maybe we'll have to use a dice next turn, but I'd really like to not use extra components. So she swings with 4 with the Feather Knives, and luckily from this Song of Iron that I got off the top of my deck, that I got from a trigger from my stamina, I'm able to parry that, and I live 1 more turn at least. So it looks bad for ya boy. She rests and goes into Nishay, and with Nishay, she's going to draw to 3 cards. But then she has to recycle her deck because she's ran out of cards. So we'll see a small shuffle here, and she'll draw her last card that she needs to draw up to her hand size. And then she's going to have to take a stamina here. So she's going to flip it. She gets an angry card, which allows her to put it into her Tenacity. It's just I believe it's a 0 cost. So it's not really a big deal right now. But it allows her to at least have more cards in there for other effects. Nishay's on-enter ability will trigger. She will reveal a card from her hand, or reveal the bottom card of her deck, which is just a 1 cost. So she now gets to choose 1 card from my Tenacity that costs 1 or less. And because face-down cards cost 0, she can choose one of those cards. And so at this point, if she got it right, or if she remembered where some of the cards were, she got my 2 cost card in case I flip it up later. I think the rest in there are 1 costs, if I'm not mistaken. But there's a 1 or a 2 or something. And because of her on-enter ability, I really should have consumed that combination. It went into my discard pile, but I should have consumed it. And because a card was consumed, she gets to activate the ability of Hexblood, which says when a card is consumed, draw a card. So she's working with 4 cards in her hand. I start by playing a Song of Strength, which just gives all my attacks +1. Then I'm going to play a combination again. Really good here because the Song of Strength buffs the attack to either a 7 damage attack that she has to choose or 2 4 damage attacks. So I believe she chooses here the 7, and then she's going to play Into the Shadows again, which is a free again. She somehow lined it up that she drew Into the Shadows with Nishay again, and so for she gets to prevent 4 damage. And then draws the bottom card of her deck because of Into the Shadows ability. And then she has to, I believe, prevent 1 more because she chose the 7 damage option. So, the hero armor is 3, and for 7 damage, you need to prevent at least 5 of it to get it below your armor value. Then I spend 1, and I play a Debris, which says discard a card from your Tenacity, and luckily I did have a 2 cost. Face down, and because of my Song of Strength, it deals 1 additional damage, so I'm going to be dealing 3 damage from this Debris. So she has to parry with something at least, which will put a little bit of pressure on her, hopefully, which is good because I then get to remove another 2 costs from her, from her Tenacity while she parries it. So I'm going to activate the Tambourine, which says exhaust a song we control to flip a card face up in my Tenacity. So I'm fully loaded again on my Tenacity, a bunch of little cards, but that should be okay because she doesn't have many cards in her hand. She's got, probably 1 attack from Nishay. I'm not super worried, and I know with this next turn, when I am able to ready everything again with Rush, I'll be able to win. I think I have everything I can to do it because I'll be able to fill my Tenacity up pretty quick for an ultimate and a basic and all that other stuff. Good to note, the Song of Strength should be ready right now. The first thing she does on her turn is she's going to activate the robe that she has, which says she hides a card from her Tenacity, and then I have to hide a card from my Tenacity. So she's breaking down my defenses little by little. She then plays, I believe it's Sharpen, which says discard the bottom card of your deck if it shares a class with your active hero or it's neutral. You get to ready your weapon. So she readies the robe again. And that's not good for me because she's going to activate it again. And then she gets to put the card she just put in to her Tenacity under, which is the Sharpen. And then I have to put one of my one of my parry cards into my, on the bottom of my deck for my Tenacity because of the robe's effect. So this robe is really breaking down what I had built up last turn. And then she plays from above because she hid 2 cards this turn because of the robe. She now gets to make a 4 damage attack for free on me, and I'm seeing the writing on the wall, and I have no defense cards. I could have parried with my Tenacity, with the combination of my Tenacity, but because Nishay can make an attack again after that, it was over. I prematurely was like, oh man, you got me, because we had played that way so many times, but yeah, really well played on her part. Her last few turns were really all very good and utilizing the guild mechanics super well. I think on a few of my turns, I was left with like 1 to 2 cards in my hand I wasn't able to fully utilize. So I think I probably should have been more defensive in the early game. But I felt in such a commanding position with a lot of my stuff that I felt like it was okay. Like I think I assumed I had more control and power on my side of the field than she did, which allowed me to take more lives early to try and get like better tempo basically. But that was not the case. And that's grit. That was really fast. I think I cut it down probably a little too condensed. Removed all the kind of fluff areas that we had, but I think I could have go through that a lot more thoroughly next time, because there's a lot to say about that game. Yeah, that was great though. I think that game for us was also really, really good, and a great show of the guild archetype and the good guys archetype, which obviously names in progress. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope that you maybe learned something. I hope you got a really, really, really good idea of how the game works, even if it was in like a lightning flash of an instant. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking to the end. And if you have any questions, or if there's something that stuck out to you as weird, or you just like what you saw, let me know in the comments. I have the ability right now to pretty much respond to everybody. So wherever you are in the world, have a great night, weekend, day, morning, whatever it is you're doing. And I hope to see you again. Bye.